Hello, greetings everybody, and welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock. So we're here on Sunday night, the alternate week. We're doing Ben's album challenge tonight. For those of you new and have not seen this before, basically, my friend Ben, who's a subscriber to the list, gives me a set of... gives me an album that he wishes me to listen to. It's his album of his own choosing, and he has a lot to choose from. He chooses an album, and then I basically listen to it, kind of review it, and give him a pick of what's my favorite song on the album. So this week he's given me the band Europe, and the album is Wings of Tomorrow. I believe it was released in 1984. They are a Swedish, I would call this a hard rock album, a Swedish hard rock album for sure. So it has 10 tracks on it. Most of them pretty solid. There's two or three that I don't really care for, and I'll talk about them. I'll do kind of an individual talk about the tracks this week. So the overall feel of this album is a kind of a hard rock feel. There are some elements of other bands in this that I recognize. I don't want to give the impression that the band sounds like these bands, because I think they have their own sound, but it does have some elements of these other bands in it. The one that comes most to mind is Triumph. They have that kind of guitar soloing, the guy's vocals not too dissimilar from Rick Emmett's, but not nearly as high pitched, but not entirely dissimilar. And their music is kind of in that same kind of power pop, power pop, hard rock kind of flavor that you would get in the 70s and 80s. So yeah, so a lot of similarities between the two bands, although I don't think you would mix them up at all. There are a couple of songs, especially on the second part of the album, that kind of had that Whitesnake flavor, that 87 Whitesnake flavor to them as well. It's the guitar style, I think, that brings that out. And then you also have, initially I thought the vocalist kind of sounded like the guy from Saga, but not really, just a little bit at the beginning. So yeah, so those are the kind of similarities that you get on this album. It's, like I said, it's a hard rock album, lots of soloing, lots of ripping guitar, and got that kind of metal feel that you hard rock metal feel that you got in the early 80s. Not the new wave of metal, though. This is that kind of almost glam, not glam metal, but kind of similar in that vein. But these guys are a little bit better instrumentally than most of those bands would ever dream of. So we have the first song on this is Stormwind. This one's got kind of a catchy riff. The vocals are similar, like I said, to the guy from Saga, but they also have a bit of that kind of triumphy sound to them as well. Hard rock, poppy for sure. The solo was cutting on this song, pretty cutting. It's one of my two favorite songs. I actually have two favorites from this album. This one, and there's another one later on. So the next song up is called Scream of Anger. This is a faster paced song than the first one. Lots of catchy solo, well, a pretty catchy solo here. Not lots of them, but pretty catchy solo. And the vocals, of course, are in that mid to high range sound that you come to expect with these type of bands, to be honest. Open Your Heart is the next track. It's kind of a poppy song. Yeah, overall it's a bit of a poppy song with some kind of mediocre vocals here. Not my favorite track on the album. In fact, it was the first one that I gave a kind of a failure mark to, so didn't really care for this track. The next track up is Treat It Bad again, kind of a heavy, ripping opening. Lots of soloing going on here. Strong vocals. Melodic and heavy tune. Yeah, this is the one that kind of brings that Whitesnake feel a little bit to the forefront. Although I would never say these guys sound like Whitesnake. I don't think they sound like them. They just have some hints of it here and there. And when I like to do stuff like that, give a little bit of hint so you got kind of an idea of what range they're in, but I don't want to make it sound like they sound like Triumph or Whitesnake. They're not carbon copies of this at all. They just are in that same kind of ballpark as these bands. The next song is called Alphaism. Heavy solo in the opening. This is an instrumental, this track, by the way. Drum part, really good. Guitar part, very dominating. Yeah, this is the definitely the more of the instrumental. It's here that you kind of get a feel for how good the guitar player is, how good the drummer is. They're both pretty good musicians, no doubt about it. Wings of Tomorrow, which is the title track of the album. It's got a kind of a catchy riff. Yeah, the vocals are a little bit more in that kind of medium range, a little bit less high than they were on some of the other tracks. But the solo on this, of course, is good as well. This is one of their better tracks, but not my favorite. The next track is called Wasted Time. This has got that kind of fast pace, but it's almost like a galloping song. One of them, like one of those Ponderosa themes that they used on Yours Is No Disgrace. Kind of got that kind of a feel to it. The vocals are very frontal on this. This is probably my favorite. Between this and Stormwind, they're my two favorites on this album. Pretty good songs. I like them both. The next one is that Lying Eyes. This is a kind of a it's a bit of a fast-paced track, real catchy riffs on it. The vocals are, again, very up-tempo, but kind of forced. I don't know if that makes any sense. When I say forced, I mean like he's trying to push out heavy vocals here, like heavy poppy vocals. This was one of the songs, another song on the album I gave a 4 to. I didn't really care for it. The next song is probably the worst song on the album. It's Dreamer. Very piano. It has this piano opening. It's very ballad-like. It does build up a little bit as the song goes along. The solo is very melodic. The vocalist is good on this track, but again, it's that kind of a little bit of that sappy kind of poppy stuff that you sometimes get at this time period in the 80s. Yeah, so not one of my favorites. Probably my least favorite track on the album. The next track up is good. It's called Dance the Night Away. I know it's not a cover of Van Halen or whoever Van Halen covered for that tune. This is a catchy opening, nice riff, fast-paced guitar, and just basically a good solid power pop hard rock song. And so that's the last track on the album. Overall, I think the album's pretty good. I think this band really has that kind of North American glam metal, pop metal, hard rock kind of sound to their music, and it's pretty good. It's a very clear. The production on it is very clear. Vocals are very clear. Although I don't think the vocalist is great, I think he's good. I think the guitar player and the drummer are the two dominant factors on this album. So there you have it. There's Ben's album challenge for the week. This week, the band Europe. Album of Wings of Destiny, wrong band, Wings of Tomorrow, 1984, and they're a Swedish band, so they've got some good stuff going on here. I think this is an album that probably bears several listenings to and really get you going into it. If you like that music, that Whitesnake, Triumph, that kind of sound, that kind of heavy metal, commercial heavy metal sound, I guess might be a term that you could use to describe it. This band will fall well within that for you. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Ben's Album Challenge. It'll be 2 weeks before we're back with another episode from this. And next week we will have the Great Album Challenge on this station for that night, for Sunday night. I hope you enjoyed this episode, like I said. If you did, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And if you want to be notified when the next video comes out, please hit the notification bell. And I will see you next Sunday with another episode of the Great Album Challenge. So we'll take care and we'll see you then. Bye.